Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, you may have noticed Bitcoin's price and the wider cryptocurrency market's price have dropped, and apparently these are the reasons why. As Bitcoin and Ether prices fell below technically significant levels, some traders are citing fear emanating from a report about the alleged Plus token Ponzi scheme as the reason for the plunge. The slide began at around 1828 UTC on Monday. In just 7 minutes, Bitcoin slipped 4% to 6,800 from 7,085, according to data from Coinbase. In time, Ether took a bigger hit, dropping 7%. Neither have seen such lows since the 25th of November, when crypto markets suffered a temporary sell-off. With little news to go on, the markets found at least one culprit. It was a company known as Chainalysis. We've spoken about them before. They help law enforcement agencies check for fraudulent cryptocurrency transactions on blockchains. They published a new report, published nearly 4.5 hours earlier in the day, saying that 20,000 Bitcoin, around 137 million US dollars, and 790,000 Ether, worth around 100 million, remain likely controlled by the people who proliferated this token scam called Plus Token, air quote. Further, Chainalysis claims $185 million in stolen Bitcoin has already been liquidated by individuals relating to Plus Token. 6 people tied to Plus Token were arrested and extradited to China from Vanuatu, where Beijing claimed the company operated a Ponzi scheme. Chainalysis says it was able to track down $2 billion in cryptocurrencies taken from victims, with a lot of that going to other investors, a hallmark of traditional pyramid schemes. The arrest occurred a little more than a week ago, etc., 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 etc. So, for those of you, sorry if you're just waking up and you're getting this bad news, Bitcoin has once again dropped. It's not a dramatic drop, but it's a drop big enough to make the news no matter where you looked, no matter where I looked. Around between 15 to 18 different websites with cryptocurrency news, they all had the same exact thing as their headliner. Bitcoin dropped because of the news that Chainalysis gave us. I am going to go out on a limb and say that it is probably not that. Here's the actual article right here from blog.chainalysis.com. It says Plus Token scammers didn't just steal $2 billion worth of cryptocurrency. They may also be driving down the price of Bitcoin. One of the main issues that I have with this situation is that, one, it's logical whenever Bitcoin or any other asset, whatever the case might be, falls off in price, drops down, especially by 4, 5, 6, 7%, and breaks through a level of support that we thought was going to hold. People start to look around for news and information as to why they have lost money. The issue is, if you've been paying attention to the last about 2 or 3 weeks of news, you may have also been paying attention to, and I'm going to read off just some of the actual articles that I found. I found at least 5 for every single day, but for the sake of not overloading my computer, my newer computer, and all the tabs up top, it reads: a popular crypto analyst says Bitcoin is likely on the verge of another major breakdown. This one says investors are not buying Bitcoin at current price. Is Bitcoin in trouble? This one says Bitcoin price clips 7,100, futures gap as bearish warnings persist. This one says traders prepare for a big Bitcoin drop as shorts stack by 50%. This one says Bitcoin set to enter disbelief phase. Should hodlers prep for $2,800? This one says BTC saw its previous support turn resistance. There we go. Bitcoin dipped under 7,200 as bearish attitude returns. I'm pretty sure you are seeing a pattern here. Bitcoin breakdown below 7,000 looms. Can bulls bounce back? And this one says veteran trader Tone Vey says it's time to say a prayer for Bitcoin. I've mentioned this before on the channel. If you say something enough and it echoes hard enough throughout the cryptocurrency space, you will terrify people enough and these actions will eventually come true. It's called the self-fulfilling prophecy, and it happens amongst many things. If you are told to be afraid over the course of a 3-week period and things start moving in that direction that other people told you to be afraid about, you will become afraid. I find it myself a little hard to believe that one company who posted a story about one thing that happened would have shook the cryptocurrency market enough for Bitcoin to drop below 7,000. It appears in my eyes, especially after the tabs I just showed you up here that took place at least over the last week and a half, if not 2 weeks. And we've been getting this news for at least 3, if not 4 weeks, that Bitcoin's price was looking weak. Bitcoin's price was going to go down, meaning, to kind of bring it all home, I don't think that Chainalysis releasing a report around the same exact day had to do with a significant... I don't think that collectively 50 to 100 million people living on this planet who might be or may not be into cryptocurrency, if not Bitcoin alone, these are the estimated numbers of people who are just into Bitcoin or who own fragments of Bitcoin, that they would have collectively seen Chainalysis's report and told their friends, told their family members, and all said, okay, right now, let's all sell off. This seems to be more of a... I've mentioned on this channel, if you've been here before, you know how I think, or have a relatively good idea of how I think. Whenever we get good news, the good news seems to flow like honey and wine. I don't know if that's a phrase, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Whenever we get bad news, and I mean like bad news, like should we sell, things are bad, it's not looking good. We've had discussions before about how, no, it actually didn't really look that bad. Every single bit of news that we had was actually quite interesting. It was quite good, quite bullish, if you will. I hate these terms, bearish and bullish, simply because people in their minds tend to think that there's actually a bull and a bear fighting in some sort of way over the price of Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with people who are whales, who have tons of Bitcoin, who have tons of Ether, who have tons of XRP, who decide to sell in some sort of way to push the price down while other people are buying over the counter. There was another news article. I decided to not have it in here because it was completely pointless. Not pointless, but it would have clogged up extra space. It was about one of the main people and one of the heads of the Gemini exchange. You can look it up. He said that the reason, or one of the main reasons why Bitcoin's price wasn't really moving up is he said it was the discussion as to why we don't see institutional investors within the cryptocurrency space. And he said, no, we definitely do. It's just they're all buying over the counter. So when you are able to accumulate large amounts of cryptocurrency and or just Bitcoin and move the price at will, usually down so that you can accumulate more, a lot of people around the world tend to think Bitcoin's not doing well, yada, 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 but we've had the numbers from Gemini, from Kraken, from Binance, and from Coinbase as to just how many people are actually buying over the counter. The entire point being, at the end of it all, it's probably one of 5 different things. I can't even think of all 5 off the top of my head. It is probably unlikely that Chainalysis announcing... We've had so much news before. Think of all the news that we've had about scams, robberies, hacks, DDoS attacks, this attack, 51% attacks, this is so and so and so, and prices have not moved anywhere. While Chainalysis is a leader in sleuthing within the cryptocurrency space, I don't think that there are enough people, or a large amount of people large enough to have seen their article and exactly 4 hours later all decide cumulatively that they should all sell off as there was fear in the you understand what has to happen in the cryptocurrency market for that to happen? How many people would have to come together at the exact same time to think of selling off because they saw that someone else had seen the article, or they would think that other people might be afraid of that article as well, and that they would all initiate a sell-off at the exact same time? It's very rare. What we usually end up seeing, and wait for it, it's going to take about a good 2 to 3 days as other news starts to pop up. We're going to probably see that on a cryptocurrency website, there was probably a sell-off from one person who was trying to sell off, and it rippled throughout the entire cryptocurrency industry. And that's what caused the sell-off. And probably at the exact same time, we're going to get news that there was a large, massive buy order on an over-the-counter market. And this is the news that we typically have. On top of that as well, I mean, realistically, I'm still trying to find the exact connection. I think a lot of people, and this is just how I feel, a lot of people within the cryptocurrency space who may be analyzers of price, I don't think they're actually in it for crypto. Not like a spy kind of thing, but it's more like so many people persistently make sure that they're, a lot of analysts, I have them in the back of my head. There are about 4 of them. Been very prominent within the cryptocurrency space, have only released bearish news or analysis over the past 2 years. There hasn't been a day where they're like, yeah, the fundamentals are great. Things are actually pretty cool. Infrastructure is being built. This is faster. This is quicker. This is so-and-so. Adoption, adoption, adoption. They've only been completely negative. So there's a reason why I don't tend to listen to analysts, that's not a word, analysts anymore within the cryptocurrency space, because I feel like a lot of them are definitely, anyway, the entire point being, I would assume, or rather, whenever we see a cryptocurrency drop off, it is usually preceded by a lump, a 2-3 weeks worth lump of news about how the price is going to go down. Don't be surprised within the next week if we start getting tons of news that you see out there that Bitcoin's price is going to do very well. Bitcoin looks poised for a breakout. Bitcoin looks so-and-so. And that always seems to happen after we have a dump off. And then what usually ends up happening is that Bitcoin's price does go back up around anywhere from around $600 to $1,000. And then we start getting that negative news once again, which comes out of nowhere. Because usually, I mean, every single person I know, whether they be rattled, if not scared sometimes at the drop off in Bitcoin's price, usually come to me and or ask me, or we end up having discussions about buying more Bitcoin or buying more crypto or buying more of this or preparing for any other next drop off that might end up happening so that we can accumulate more. Very few people, and especially out there, think about you, yourself, and your friends. How many of you have been accumulating? How many of your friends have been accumulating? Think of all the times that the prices have dipped and you've bought, prices have gone up and you bought. And every single time, what also annoys me as well is that we have those people in the comment section whenever the price goes back up. Oh, this is a dead cat bounce. You guys better watch out. And it's like, why? If you feel that negative, you should probably stand in the corner and just say these things out loud to yourself so that it reflects off the wall in front of you and that only you can hear it. I don't understand the need to try to make sure that you can predict where the market is going just so that you can sound smart. Like, do you expect people to be like, oh my gosh, that one person in the comment section 3.5 weeks ago, he totally knew what he was talking about. That's crazy. I have to find him and become his best friend and follow everything that he says because he was correct that one time. What do you get from trying to be correct? And then the people are usually incorrect at the exact same time. That's usually the craziest part as well. Think about all those other times before. Remember all those times when Bitcoin had gone up in price by $700-800 and the entire week before, all we saw was a whole bunch of people talking about, yeah, Bitcoin looks like it's going to go down. And I'm like, yeah, that's really funny that no one is paying attention to when they're incorrect. But the moment that that person has anything correct out of the 1 out of 12 predictions that they had, everyone's like, but listen to him. He's so smart. He got it right that 1 out of 12 times. TMI, why won't you listen to him? I don't understand. I can't listen to you anymore. And it's like, please go sit down somewhere. The entire point being, this sell off, air quote, was probably done by one single person. We're going to get news of it over the next week. Yeah, not much more to say. Bitcoin's fundamentals are still great. I think Bitcoin already has transacted, I think, several $1 trillion this year. I think that the number the last time we saw about a month ago was 2.2 trillion. That's huge. Once again, the news that we had from this year, I think around summertime, was that in 2018, Bitcoin had transacted over $1 trillion worth of value, and I think that was 4 times what was transacted on PayPal. The fundamentals are looking great. We have more miners than ever. We have more institutions getting on board. Even if you just look at the futures and the bonds and the so-and-so, everything that's in all these derivatives that are tied to Bitcoin, things are looking excellent. However, we still have tons of people who think that Bitcoin's price is looking weak or Bitcoin's price is going down, that there aren't any buyers, that there aren't any so-and-so. I have big news for you. There are definitely people buying. Just because we can't see the over-the-counter buying happening doesn't mean that people aren't. And I mean, realistically, I have so many friends, you don't even understand, who are into crypto, who continuously buy or stack Satoshis, regardless if the price is up or down. So on that note, that is the news that we haveth at the momenteth as to why Bitcoin's priceth has gone downeth. And without further ado, let us move on. Next up, Cardano has recently released its new incentivized testnet network. In the first hours after being released, hodlers have hold on there. It says hodlers have staked 5.4 billion ADA. It shows there is a large interest in the new incentivized network and that users are ready to test the solutions provided by one of the most innovative, one of the biggest projects in the market. According to data provided by Input Output Hong Kong, less than 24 hours since the testnet was up or the network was set up, more than 120 stake pools were already on board. They said, wow. Less than 24 hours since we opened the doors for setup and over 120 stake pools on board already. If that's you, welcome. Be sure to share your ticker below so ADA holders can start deciding which to delegate to next week. Moreover, IOHK explained that they are committed to encouraging and supporting a healthy stake pool ecosystem. This is why they have delegated 1.1 billion ADA across 48 different community pools, which means more than 33%, 1 out of every 3, more than that, of the staking pools out there belong to them. They also delegated 1.1 billion ADA out of the, what was it, 5.4 billion ADA? I'm going to go out on a limb and just say it this way. So the people from Cardano, IOHK, have finally released the incentivized test net, not actual Shelly, where you are able to stake your ADA on their platform, on their pool, throw your money into a pool and make some more money. This has finally been testnet activated. I find it very hard to believe in many different ways. This is just how I feel about the entire situation. And I have a friend who really likes Cardano. And from what I've heard, things are getting interesting behind the scenes. This is what I can say. This number of 5.4 billion ADA, and I'm going to say a good 4.5 billion in my humblest of opinions as a normal person, are probably coming from IOHK, Cardano, and maybe a couple of other cryptocurrency exchanges who are trying to make sure that this works. Why are they trying to make sure that this works? Because they're probably going to, in the near future, so I thinketh, they're probably going to start offering staking for ADA because the staking industry is very hot right now. Everybody, or a lot of people, are trying to stake with Tezos because it is one of the few ways that we have to get passive income within the cryptocurrency space. And I wholeheartedly believe that if this ever gets launched and Shelly does ever get activated and it does work, big if right there, we are going to see many cryptocurrency exchanges trying to list Cardano and Ether for staking on their platforms as well. Without really digging too deep or trying to be too critical, they do have 5.4 billion ADA that are already staked. I'm certain these are not from everyday normal people. I don't think that 80 other staking pools would have opened up. If you've ever seen a staking pool, if you've ever tried to look at a staking pool or even like a mining pool, they're usually set up by larger entities who have large amounts of cryptocurrencies, and they tell other people to dump whatever little portions they have into the pool so that they can all broth all together. We'll see how this turns out. Not really much more to say than I'm willing to say at the given moment. We'll see how things turn out. Here's the actual tweet right here. It says, "Our incredible Cardano community have put in a remarkable effort this weekend with over 240 pools plus counting, getting ready for staking. Thank you. We'll let ADA holders know as soon as reward wallets are available." Let's see how it turns out. Let's move on. Next up, Fidelity is in the news. Tom Jessup, the president of Fidelity Digital Assets, the cryptocurrency trading arm of United States financial services giant Fidelity, announced that the firm may add support for Ether in 2020 if there is significant demand for it. During an interview with industry news outlet The Block, published on the 13th of December, Jessup answered questions about the firm. When asked about the possibility of Fidelity Digital Assets supporting Ether in the future, he said, "We've done a lot of work on Ethereum. We intend to support it in the new year. We're very led by our clients." End quote. Jessup also said that main obstacles to institutional crypto adoption are price volatility, lack of regulatory clarity, and perhaps more importantly, absence of a track record. He explained that he believes these problems will be alleviated with time, he said, meaning like... Who starts out a sentence like that? He said, meaning like, how do I know that if I'm buying this thing, it's going to be around tomorrow? Like, what indication of durability or longevity do I have based on the fact that the history of this asset is 10 years old? I think many of these things solve themselves with time, end quote. Fidelity's cryptocurrency trading and custody platform launched with a select group of clients in March. The platform is not meant for normal people. Instead, it focuses on hedge funds, family offices, pensions, endowments, and other institutional investors. Do you see the correlation that we have once again? How many times has Ethereum been in the news over the last month? A lot. Do you remember why it started being in the news? Anyone? Any hands? Anyone in the class? It was because the people from Ether had announced that they were definitely going to have their upgrade that we ended up having a couple of days ago. The correlation is all there. The people from Ethereum announced we're going to have our update. Remember all the bearish news that we had on Ethereum? Ethereum's dying, Ethereum's dead, Ethereum's this, Ethereum's not going anywhere. And the moment they said that they were going to do their upgrade, everyone is like, oh yeah, let's start building on Ethereum. And even the news that we had a couple of days ago where there were multiple institutions and countries who are going to be building on top of Ethereum as well. The news that we have now is, of course, randomly, where did that come from? As the Ethereum network is potentially looking to be upgraded to around 3,000 transactions per second. Fidelity now comes out of the woodworks and says, yeah, we're thinking about adding it. Of course you are. You were already thinking about it probably in 2017, and you had discussions with the people from Ethereum. But they told you, wait a bit, because we can't handle what's going on right now, and they want to make sure that the Ethereum network is networkable for institutions and is fast and is cool and is awesome and amazing. So I believe it's the beginning of January that this is supposed to happen. The beginning of Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake and 3,000 transactions per second and ZK snarks and all this other stuff. If that update goes through and we start seeing an avalanche of good Ethereum news, and we get news almost immediately after from the people from Fidelity that how much they love Ethereum, well, there you go. I have a feeling they'll add it in general. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people there, a lot of the institutional crypto places they're pulling a Gemini. What do I mean by pulling a Gemini? Gemini exchange is one of the most boring exchanges in the entire world. And what's happening is a lot of the other institutional, big money cryptocurrency exchanges, over-the-counter places, yada, 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 like Fidelity, they usually only have like one coin listed. Cool. It's usually Bitcoin, and I'm pretty sure they're investors. This is why he was like, where is it? We're very led by our clients. If they scream enough and go, hey, we have money, we want to give it to you, get this, they're going to get it. So I assume Ethereum is going to be added regardless. There are a lot of big industry players who got into Ether and Ethereum very early. And I assume a lot of people are also, even if Ether goes from where it is right now to where it was in 2017, that's still more than a 10x in price. If you put in 10 million and it does a 10x, you've made 100 million, my friend. So there's definitely a lot of money flowing behind the scenes. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm still waiting, as many of you are. I'm waiting for a price bounce. And I mean like a Bitcoin over 10,000 price bounce. I want to see how ravenous investors become over other crypto assets. I mentioned before, and it hasn't really taken place that much this year. I mentioned before that when we start to see Fidelity, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, this place, that place, like the really big name places start adding certain cryptocurrencies to their platform, this would be a good indication if we collectively, me, you, I, and us, should start focusing on some of the other bigger names or other smaller names within the cryptocurrency space. It has not really happened. Most institutional places have started launching their products, but they're usually only focusing on Bitcoin, maybe Ether, and sometimes XRP. And I mean by the ravenousness is when Bitcoin goes from between $10,000 to $15,000, it'll cause a lot of heads to pick back up. People will start buying into the market, and I wonder what other coins places like Fidelity, the New York Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ will start announcing as coins that they're going to be putting on their platform. But until then, we have to wait. So, yeah, come on. I mean, he kind of said it. We intend to support it in the new year. I mean, they're going to add it. It's just a matter of when. If they, I swear to actual goodness, if they add this thing the day after the upgrade happens, I mean, how much more obvious could you get? Next up, the government of cryptocurrency-friendly Switzerland has shot down the idea of issuing a digital Swiss franc, at least for the moment. According to a 13th of December press release published on the Federal Council's website, the Federal Council approved a report exploring the opportunities and risks of issuing a digital form of the country's national currency known as the franc. Following an analysis, the federal government concluded that a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, cannot meet expectations for payment efficiency, effective monetary policy, and a more stable financial system. The council said, and I do quote, "Universally accessible central bank digital currency would bring no additional benefits for Switzerland at a present. Instead, it would give rise to new risks, especially with regard to financial stability," end quote. The Swiss National Bank shares the government's view, arguing that the new risks to the monetary policy and financial stability would pose a major challenge. As such, the government only sees the further development of a central bank digital currency to be reasonable were it to be restricted to financial market players and not accessible to the general public. Here's the interesting part right here. This has come up multiple other times before. Remember, we have heard from other governments in other countries that either they see no need for a central bank digital currency, or they do see that there could be a need. And every single time, it usually boils down to, we don't see a need for it having to go to the general public. However, for market players and for institutional investors, we could definitely see a need for them using it. At the moment, here's the actual article, blog post, website post right here. It says, Federal Council publishes report on central bank digital currency. This is by the Federal Council, the portal of the Swiss government. They do not apparently seem to be in the mood to try to issue a central bank digital currency at the moment. Don't be shocked, however, if by next year, if we have two countries, there's about 7 of them who said they're going to be launching next year. If these countries launch their central bank digital currencies and they work out, and they work out well, and they see that capital controls are stronger than they've ever been, don't be shocked if a number of other countries come forward and say, it's time. I mean, they're all working that way, and I'm pretty sure even if they say no, my opinion is they're probably going to continue doing tests behind the scenes to see how viable it is as a thing for them to launch. It's going to happen. I don't know why they keep pretending like it's not going to be a thing. Anyway, just a reminder to kind of sprinkle some sugar on the salty bacon. I don't know what that means. It says a year after bottoming out at 3,100, Bitcoin is up 127%. If you're looking for a silver lining, that's about as silver as it's going to get. It's kind of insane to think that a year ago, Bitcoin hit 3,100, and I mean, we're at 6,800 right now, so profit? Question mark? Yay, we're up where we were before. It's been a wild last 2 years. I know a lot of people have been expecting, anticipating, waiting for a price movement up. I know the cryptocurrency market isn't always easy. That's a complete understatement. I saw a couple of articles talking about that they were wondering if Bitcoin was going to drop down this low again. If it does, always keep in the back of your mind, I know it's very difficult. It can be clouded by other things. It's not your fault, and it's not your friend's fault. It's none of you selling. It's the invisible hands that we can't see who control all the other markets. They have control over the cryptocurrency markets. They do with it as they wish. They move the prices down lower because they intend to buy up more. This is exactly what's ended up happening. We will see good times again. It's more a matter of when, not if. Wait, when? Yes, whatever. It doesn't matter. It will happen eventually. But at the moment, the market apparently, so saith the institutions, the market must go through ups and downs like this. I was discussing with someone else before after listening to a podcast, and the people on the podcast were saying that this is part of the growing pains of the cryptocurrency market, that the market needs to go through these ups and downs. Otherwise, the market seems too optimistic for people who are trying to get into it. Apparently, people need to see that the market has suffered, has had good times, has suffered again, has had good times, has suffered again over and over in spurts, in ups and downs, to see that the market is simply not full of people who have their head inflated by wonderful dreams of lollipops and gumdrops and Maseratis and hotties, and I was looking forward to rhyme it with. The entire point is that apparently, like all markets, we must suffer so that when prices go up, we can look back and say that was a buying opportunity, but we couldn't see it at the time. Anyway, exactly a year ago, just about, Bitcoin had, no, exactly a month from this month, a year ago, Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision was birthed. Caused Bitcoin's price to start to tumble. And I think today or yesterday was the exact day that Bitcoin hit 3,100. And from there, we went up. Bitcoin actually went up from 3,100 to 14,000, if you can remember that. Interesting times in the cryptocurrency space. Never a dull day, I say. No matter what, whether prices are down, prices are up, or prices are going sideways, it's always something. There's always an interesting day in the cryptocurrency space. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Shoop Shoop Diddy Wop, Hummer Hummer Wang Dang, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Ting Tang, Walla Walla Bing Bang, Sammy Boucha, Bodie McBoatface, Yes to Crypto, Miller Hitch Test Every Day and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Minting Coins, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Paxis, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich III, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna Damien, Nicholas One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Cryptopolis, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Strange Radio Central Mechanic, Milweezy Adobo, Bankroll Network, Crypto Joe, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Triple M and J, Woody and Daisy, Brady Niels, Master Ventures in Thailand, Moham Marodi, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, Bare Bones Mining, A Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Mr. Pickles, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, very much for your support. And also thank you for the people. It's really weird. I don't know if you know this. Whenever people join a channel, like subscribe to it, I can actually see the names. I don't know if that's a new thing for YouTube. It's actually kind of weird. I saw a number of people on the Patreon list join the second channel. Thank you. I give you a big digital hug that you cannot feel, but I actually did hug the air, so I hugged someone. Hope it's not a ghost. At the moment, the cryptocurrency market, like we have gone over, is red. The last, what is this, around 16 hours has been completely trending sideways, which means that that drop was not organic because the market is still trending sideways. If it had been an organic drop, we either would have continued dropping. There would be a huge amount of fluctuations as people are trying to figure out how to get into the market, or other people are trying to get out of the market. It'd be a lot of swings. However, the market is doing a little wave completely sideways. A lot of coins, I mean, Bitcoin took the lowest hit. Ether's down 6%. XRP's just a smidge below, down 7%. Litecoin's down 7%. EOS is 7%. Binance 7%. Lumens is down 9%. Tron is only down 4%. Tezos, how did I miss that? My eyes completely. I was just looking for the red. Tezos, like a bat out of crypto, is the only coin in the top 10 besides Tether that's green. Tezos is actually up by 3.6%. Imagine if we had that resilience in coins that were actually being used on a daily basis. Like, you have a $76 million 24-hour trading volume. Bitcoin has a $17 billion. Imagine if the market just absorbed bad news like that. Why is every other coin in the top 10 red except for Tezos? Anyway, yeah, we'll see exactly. Today's Tuesday. We'll see exactly where the rest of the week takes us. Don't be surprised if by like Thursday or Friday, Bitcoin's back in the green again and everyone has completely forgotten about this downfall. I myself personally, and I tell you this now, I expect another bit of a drop-off. simply because the news is still too negative. I think this will affect people. I think as people see that the prices have gone down last night, that they may sell off. No one knows. I don't know. You don't know. Analyzers don't know, because they definitely would have seen this drop off coming, but no one did. So I think maybe expecting and waiting for patiently another drop off in price. I may accumulate more then. It's always a good time to buy, but I've grown accustomed to the fact that whenever I try to buy, or whenever I think of buying, the price goes up. So if I sit on the sidelines and I just keep staring at the price for a couple of days, it usually ends up toppling, and this seems to be a good buying opportunity. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. Make sure to go out there and enjoy your day. If you have to work, sorry. I was gonna say call out sick. If you're already in work, you can't call out sick. You can call in sick. Is that a thing? Yeah, you can. People, you can tell you. Don't take my ideas. Have fun. Try to enjoy your job. Thank you all once again for watching and listening, and I'll definitely be talking to you all soon. See